Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I will be showing you a makeover on this beautiful buffet that I picked up at my thrift store for only $40. You heard that right, $40. It actually had been sitting there for a few weeks, so clearly no one was interested in it as is at that price, but I finally decided I was going to bring it home with me and give it a new look. It is a very old piece, and while it's not in perfect condition by any means, it had pretty good bones, and that top was in really good condition. So I knew that for sure I wanted to sand and refinish the top. Once I started sanding it, I realized that finish was thick, so I needed to strip it first. I typically do not like stripping furniture because it's a mess and it's tedious, but sometimes it must be done. And when I do strip furniture, this is the only stripper I'll use. It's called Smart Strip, and I'll be sure to link it for you guys. It's eco-friendly, it's safe to use right inside of my house. It has no bad smell to it. It's very easy to apply. You can see how thick it is, and I brush it on very liberally. I make sure to use an older brush or just one that I'm not worried about ruining, like a cheap chip brush or something. In this case, I am using one of my Rachel brushes, which you know is my go-to, but it's an older one. Next, I am going to fill some areas of the veneer that was chipped. I'm just letting that stripper sit on there and do its thing. You'll want to check it a few times just to see if it's working. In this case, I did let it sit for a couple hours, and you'll see later on in this video how it worked. But you can check it after like 20 minutes or so and see if the finish is starting to lift off. It doesn't dry out. You don't have to cover it with plastic or anything like that. I'm using my favorite wood filler here, you guys. I will make sure to link this for you as well. Just applying it with my fingers. I've told you before, sometimes your hands and your fingers are your best tools. Check this out. The stripper is working. Like I said, this was after about 2 hours, and you can see it literally lifting right off the top of this piece. So satisfying. Sanding that off would have taken me forever, not to mention several sanding discs. So in this case, I'm very happy that I decided to strip the top. Now I'm just using a scraper to get off all of that extra gunk. Look at that, you guys. Like I said, so satisfying, but yes, it is a mess. And you're just going to want to scrape off as much of it as possible. I ended up scraping it off and then just putting it in an old pizza box, which I'll show you in a minute. The other awesome thing about this stripper is that the cleanup can be done with just water. And that's exactly what I did. You'll see that in a minute. You don't need to use an after wash or mineral spirits or acetone or anything like that. Just plain old water will clean this up. Look at all that gunk, you guys. So gross, but so good, right? So now I'm just going to clean off any of the extra residue that was left over. I did find some spots, especially along the edges, where I didn't scrape off enough of the extra residue. So I will just give it a really good cleaning, try to get off as much as I can. And then when I come back with my sander, I'll make sure to pay extra attention to those parts where I didn't quite get enough of the stripper off. And again, this is just water, completely safe to use inside, no bad smells. By far my favorite stripper to use, eco-friendly and effective. So now this is what it looks like after I cleaned it up with water. And clearly it doesn't look perfect, but all of that finish is off, minus a few areas along the edge where I kind of missed. But like I said, I will just pay extra attention to that when I start to sand. As much as I really do not like stripping, I do have to say that it does make the sanding part so much easier. I went in with 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm using my Festool sander and dust extractor so that I can do it right inside of my house without any dust. I'll make sure to link this for you guys as well. It definitely is an investment, but I have to say it is by far the best investment I've ever made for my business. Especially living in a cold weather state, I am able to sand and work on furniture all year long. My kids are home for the summer, off of school, so I get a little bit of distractions every now and then, but it doesn't bother me. It's actually one of the reasons why I love what I do and I'm able to work from home, because I still get to spend time with them and I get to be there for them when they need me, which is not so much anymore as they're 17 and 18. But when I started doing this, they were only about 8 and 9 and 10, so they needed me quite a bit. And it's always been so nice to have a flexible schedule, work from home, always be available for my kids when they need me. And I'm just finishing up sanding the top, and you can see I'm just paying extra attention to the edges there where I didn't get all of that stripper removed. But overall, it sanded down very nicely, very easily. Didn't take me a whole lot of time. That stripper definitely saved me, so I would have to say that it was worth the mess and the extra effort of using the stripper. So here is what the top looks like now after sanding it down with 220 grit. It's looking great. It's not perfect by any means. None of my furniture is, especially when you're working with vintage furniture. And in this case, like I said, it is a very old piece, and I'm so surprised that it's still in such great condition. I decided to stain the top with a dark stain. This is Dark Walnut by Varathane, and look at how great that looks. It's still drying at this point, and I will have to let it dry and fully cure for at least 24 hours before I top coat. So now I'm going to go back to the body of the piece and sand down the areas where I did the wood filler. And I'm also going to scuff sand the entire piece to help aid in adherence for the paint. I already have a color picked out for this piece. I'm very excited to use it. It's actually one of the brand new colors by Melange. You'll see it here in just a little bit. It's a new collection that was just released. It was curated by one of my good friends and fellow furniture refinishers. Her name is Summer. You can find her on Facebook and Instagram at Pinewood Charm. And her collection is just beautiful. It's inspired by New England summers, and that's where she lives. And as soon as I saw this color, I knew that I needed to use it quick. And I thought that this buffet would be the perfect candidate for it. After the piece is completely scuff sanded, I give it a good cleaning. I don't have a video of me doing that here. I know I show it in almost all of my videos and I just don't want to be too redundant, but I do a very good cleaning after the scuff sanding just to get ready for paint. The cleaner that I use is called Anvil by Melange. It's my favorite. It's a cleaner and degreaser in one. It's non-foaming, non-soapy. I'll make sure to link that as well. As I was scuff sanding this drawer, I noticed an area that I missed. Of course, it happens to me often where I'll think that I did a very good inspection and then I find something that I missed, and so I just added my wood filler to it. This is the top drawer, you guys. Look at how tall it is. It's the entire length of the buffet, and I'm pretty sure it is almost as tall, if not taller, than me. I just had to show you that. Lots of repairs needed on that top drawer. But let's get back to the top because now it's time to top coat it. I'm using Armadillo by Melange and I'm applying it with my Zebra top coat brush, and I call this the Dynamic Duo. If you brush your top coats like I do, I exclusively brush. I don't spray my paints, I don't spray my top coats, I brush. And if you're like me and you brush as well, this combo is a must try. The brush makes it so easy to apply, and Armadillo is such a smooth top coat that's always very strong and durable. I do end up doing at least 3 coats. All right, let's go back to that really long top drawer. And here's all the areas that needed wood filler. Here's one of the smaller drawers that also needed wood filler. And then I also had to add some extra wood filler to a couple areas on the buffet itself. I've told you guys before, one of the mistakes that I think people make when filling veneer chips or things like that is that they only do one round of the wood filling, and sometimes you need to do 2 or 3 just to make sure that it's completely filled in and totally flush with your piece so that when you do paint it, you won't detect that repair at all. So now I'm just scuff sanding the drawers and getting it ready. And now here is that beautiful color that I was telling you about. It is called Clapboard. So good. It is a neutral taupe, kind of like a cocoa color with gray undertones. In my photos, which I will share later, I feel like it looks lighter than it is, and it shows up more gray, but it really is this beautiful, warm cocoa taupe, but it does have those gray undertones, and you will see that. And now I'm just getting to painting the body of the piece. I am using my favorite brush. It's called the Rachel brush by Melange. It's an oval brush. I love the grip. I love how much paint it holds, and it's just so smooth and easy to use. This paint has the primer and top coat built in, so that's why you didn't see me adding any primer. It's really not necessary with this paint. I'm not worried about bleed through. I'm not worried about adherence. If I were, I would maybe use a stain blocking primer or a bonding primer, but in this case, it wasn't necessary. I did end up doing a total of 3 coats on this piece. And this paint is also self-leveling, so if you do brush like I do, you won't see any brush strokes. Here it is, you guys. How beautiful. I can't get over the top and how pretty it turned out. The wood grain looks great. I love the stain color. The top coat just gives it that perfect finish, and I think it looks so good with this warm, neutral paint color. Again, it's called Clapboard by Melange. And I feel like this was sitting in the thrift store for weeks and no one wanted it. So it was time for a fresh new look, right? And I'm very happy with how it turned out. I did keep the original hardware, but I did end up cleaning and spraying them with my favorite Rustic Mist by Rust-Oleum. Here is that beautiful collection I was talking about. So many fun colors that I cannot wait to try. Remember, you can use my code JEN10 for 10% off your Melange orders. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Stay tuned for more furniture makeovers and thrifting.